योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचां मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि। आबाहुपुरुषाकारं शङ्खचक्रासिधारिणं सहस्रशिरसं श्वेतं प्रणमामि पतञ्जलिं। श्रीमते अनन्ताय नागराजाय नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्णवागीशयतीश्वराभ्यां सम्प्राप्तचक्राङ्कणभाष्यसारं श्रीनूत्नरङ्गेन्द्रयतौ समर्पितस्वं श्रीकृष्णमार्यं गुरुवर्यमीडे। विरोधे कार्तिके मासे क्षतताराकृतोदयम् योगाचार्यं कृष्णमार्यं गुरुवर्यम् अहं भजे। शिष्यकं कृष्णमार्यस्य नादवंशप्रदीपकं कल्याणगुणरूपं तं श्रीदेशिकं नमाम्यहम्। प्रशान्तपुरुषाकारं विनियोगप्रचारकं विशेषवैदिकं सूर्यं तं देशिकं स्मराम्यहम्। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। Yesterday we had a bird's eye view of some of the important ideas on which Desikachar worked. The essential texts happen to be Yogadhaara, supported by Yoga Yajnavalkya Smriti. The beauty of and the speciality of Desikachar was he made it more easy for all of us to understand. And he gave the essence of Krishnamacharya and the essence of Nathamuni's Yogarasya in his own way, by adding his own technical skills of biomechanics, being an engineer. So that makes Desikachar very, very important in the pantheon of Krishnamacharya students. And as I told you yesterday, but for Desikachar, Krishnamacharya wouldn't have been known on such a big scale. To recapitulate what I discussed yesterday, we discussed about Vinyasa, Vinyasa Krama, Kriya, Pratikriya, Arohana Kramam, and Avarohana Kramam. These are all with regard to the arrangement of asanas for a particular purpose. Okay. And what makes Krishnamacharya tradition very special is the Vinyoga, which was popularized by Desikachar. In fact, when he started teaching yoga, his brand was Vinyoga International. That's why in most of the countries, Vinyoga centers were established this idea of Vinyoga is one of the important concept in our tradition itself. If you take Ayurveda, as I told you yesterday, when we are treating a person therapeutically, say for back pain, we don't have uniform program for back pain. Whose back is paining makes all the difference. Like the headache in allopathic, if you talk about headache, you have a uniform prescription of crocin. But here, whose head is aching? Because each head is supported by so many other vasanas. So accordingly, the programs have to be made. So in that context, we are going to talk about the Vinyoga Krama, which is a hallmark of Desikachar's brand. The first important thing about this Vinyoga Krama is, and all these programs, we are talking only about Ashtanga. This is very, very important. Because contrary to the normal understanding that yoga is only physical exercise, the entire Yoga Sutra, the philosophy, talks only about meditation. It is a beautiful text on different kinds of, totally 4 types of important meditations are being discussed, and the supportive literatures are part of it. But what is popular is the Ashtanga. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara. And in that context only, we are going to talk about the Vinyoga Krama. In the Ashtanga Krama also, that is the first Krama. So whenever we do the Ashtanga Krama, it has to be in the same order. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhaya, Ashto Angani. In which 5 are Bahiranga Sadhana. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara. Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. They are Antaranga Sadhana. In fact, very interestingly, Sadhana Pada covers only the first 5 Bahiranga Sadhana. Even though we are practicing Dhyana as a sadhana, that is not part of Sadhana Padam of Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. It is there in Vibhuti Padam. Vibhuti Padam is the effect of the practice. Like Vibhuti Yogam in Bhagavad Gita. What does it talks? It talks about the glory, the effect of the bhakti. The same way here, it is included in Vibhuti Pada. So if you do the 5 Bahiranga Sadhana properly, the impact is result in Vibhuti Pada. It has not been included in the sadhana. This is very, very important idea, which is from Desikachar. Okay. Having said that, this order will always be like this only. Under normal circumstances, in economics we call as ceteris paribus, other things being equal, like the law of demand. When the price is more, demand falls. When the price is less, demand increases. And finally, they will say other things being equal. Okay. Why other things being equal? So many other inputs also matter in demand. Now the gold price is increasing, but people are buying. That is exception. Okay. So here also, under normal circumstances, we will have to follow only this order. Okay. Now our focus is mainly asana practice. In asana practice, see, why we are talking, the people are more attached to the body, Because all through our life, we identify ourselves only with this body. Nama Rupam is more important. And also our Shastram says, Shariram Adhyam Kalu Dharma Sadhana. Only through the Shariram, all Dharma Sadhana you can achieve. Whether it is Dharma, Artha, Kama, or Mumukshatvam, Moksha. That is why we give a lot of emphasis. And also, unless your body is in proper shape, you cannot do pranayama. The quality of an asana is stiram, sukham, asanam. And after obtaining stiram, sukham, asanam, then only pranayama. Tasmin sati, shwasa prashwasayoho, gati vichedaha pranayamaha. This is what Yoga Sutram says. So if you are, because the ultimate purpose of yoga is to make you realize that the pure consciousness is different from what we assume to be. This understanding is the essence of the entire gamut of Indian philosophy, starting from Sankhya. You isolate the pure consciousness from the consciousness with content. How does it happen? Only by pacifying the mind. All our Shastram, all our Darshanas, we call it as Jnana Shastram. They are all intellectual. But Yoga Shastram is the only Shastram which shows the path to pacify the mind. So if you have to focus on a particular thing, you will have to sit for long hours. So if your knee is going to have pain, if your back is not good, if your shoulder is not proper, or if you are not able to even place your fingers properly. So where is the question? And you want to do pranayama, you will have to first season your body before you even enter into pranayama. Yes, pranayama, the prana, not the breath is not prana. Again, there is a very, very important idea. Breath plus something is prana. But that prana can be regulated only through breath. Even the breath itself is invisible. We cannot see. That is the subtle body. So what to talk of mind? The only means by which we can control the mind is the breath. Chale vate, chale chittam. This is what Hatha Pradipika says. Here also, after establishing Stiram and Sukham in asana, go to prana. Tasmin sati, shwasa prashwasayoho, gati vichedaha pranayama, which is a beautiful sutra. Normally we think pranayama means is controlling. It is not controlling. It is regulating the prana. Well, that is a much more subtle topic which requires much more deeper interaction, which we will see if everything falls in place. I can talk about those things at a later date. So while doing asana program, under normal circumstances, we like to follow only one order. Standing, we presume that after good sleep, we get up and start doing asanas. Standing, kneeling, then lying on the back, what they call as supine postures, then inversion, then prone posture, that is lying on your chest, then seated, Then again, if it is needed, kneeling posture. This is the order in which the asana, that is the krama. This is asana abhyasa krama. The abhyasam also has to be continuous. It is not, that I do asana for 3 months and why nothing is happening. No, all the sadhanas, whether it is suggested in first chapter or second chapter, has to be done for a long period of time. Satu dirghakala, nairantarya, satkara, adhara, asevito dridhabhumihi. That is what the definition for abhyasa. Unless we don't go through a particular period of time continuously, again and again with positive attitude, adhara, a positive attitude, you cannot obtain stiram and sukham in asana program. So this order, why this order? Standing, because standing gives the possibility of mobility of your body in all angles. Once that is established, then you can go to the kneeling if it is needed. Then supine postures, because supine posture is the preparation for doing inversion. For example, Urdu Prasarita Padasana and Dvipata Pitam, all these things will help us to do Viparita Karni Mudra or Sarvangasana or Shirshasana or any other thing. And then the compensation, we don't use the language counterpose. Normally, in the yoga circle, people talk about counterpose. There is no counter to anything. We allowed to compensate the negative aspect of any posture. All the postures have negative aspect. That has to be balanced. That's why the prone posture, because the chest which is contracted by inversion, by the sheer weight of the entire weight is falling on the chest and the neck. So it has to be released. That is why we do Bhujangasana, Shalabhasana, all those things after the inverted postures. Then we prepare for seated posture. Say Janu Shirshasana, the Ardhamatsyendrasana, Paschimottanasana, all those things. Again, if you want, you can go for some kneeling posture, Ustrasana, Chakrasana, all those things is possible at the end. This is one aspect. While doing asana practice, now we come to the most important contribution of Desikachar, that is Vinyoga, which is again, is a quintessence of the Nathamuni's Yoga Rahasya, which we are talking about, where I have written some notes for you. Yeah. This is decided by certain factors. The first factor is the Desha, Kala. Kala is the first factor. This is, we are talking about, I'm not talking about therapy. This, please take it in your mind. Therapy is different. It is a totally different ball game. We are talking about a person with normal health, with appropriate flexibility. Even for them, we have to use these parameters. The first parameter is the Kala. It's equivalent to the Ritucharya in Ayurveda. In which season are you practicing? If you are going to do yoga program in Hemanta and Shishira Ritu, which is winter, the program can be very strong because you have a lot of energy in this period. If it is Grishma Ritu, that's summer. you cannot exert yourself because already the sun, takes up your energy. We call it as adhana kalam. Dhanam is giving. Adhanam means it is taking. The sun takes away all the energy. So there is no point in doing, 3 hours of yoga I did, and a lot of people claim that I run every day 5 kilometers, even in summer, not knowing that it's going to cause problem. So kala is very, very important. That is the season. And another idea of kala is within the day. If you are going to do the program in the morning, program will be different. If you are going to do in the evening, the program will be different. In the morning, you prepare for your preoccupation in the whole day. In the evening, when you do, it has to make you feel relaxed. It should not make you rajas so that you lose your sleep. So the first idea of Vinyoga is kala. Then second important idea is desha. What is desha? Desha means the space, the place where you live. Here we are not talking in terms of the country as a whole. We are talking about the ecological condition of the place where you live. If you are living in a very cold place or a mountainous region, your yoga program will be different. You are living in a desert, the yoga program has to be different. You are living near a sea or river, the program has to be different. In other words, if you are living in a tropical climate, the program is different. We are going to live in a very severely cold countries like Canada. The program has to be, it can be very tough. So the next important aspect is the desha. Okay. I do not know many people are. And the third important aspect in this is vritti. Vayaha. What is vayaha? Is a age. Vayovritti is also called krama. In a human life, we have 3 phases of life. One is up to getting to an adult stage from birth, and then the grihastha stage, brahmacharya, grihastha, and vanaprastha and sannyasa. So this can be broadly classified in terms of age up to 25. From 25 to say 60 and 60 above, which we call as Srishti Krama, Sthiti Krama, and Samhara Krama or Laya Krama. So in which ashramam you are will determine the quality of your program. Even the composition of the Ashtanga. For example, up to 25 years, if you have a yoga program which consists of pranayama, yogasanas, and dhyana, at least 60% will be asana. Another 30% will 20%, no, even I think we can make it as 70 to 80% for Srishtikrama and some 10% for pranayama, and the remaining small percentage is dhyana. That ratio also shifts as the age increases. For a 14-year-old boy, maybe the entire program has to be with the component of asanas only, not even pranayama. Only integration of breath is sufficient. But nowadays we see, even for children, people are teaching dhyana. Balastavad krida saktaha. As a children have to play, not sit on one place and ask them to do dhyana, which is meaningless as far as Desikachar is concerned. And when you come to Sthitikrama is a Grahastha period. You have a lot of responsibility. The Rajas, the Pitta increases with a lot of worries. So that is the place your mind has to be kept pacified. So you reduce the proportion of asana, make it 50%, and add another 20% of 60%, another 30% of pranayama, and 20% for some semblance of dhyana. And layakrama, very limited asana practice. Pranayama, dhyana, and also scriptural readings. This is what we call as Sthitikrama, Srishtikrama, Sthitikrama, and Laikrama. This is as far as the age is concerned. This is irrespective of male and female. There is gender application is different, that we are not discussing in this small duration. There are certain things which are more specific to women. So the third one is the vayaha, the age. Age factor also makes a lot of difference. And then vritti. Vritti means our activities, what you do. In modern language, you can call your employment or profession. For example, a salesman is always on the run, whereas an auditor is always on his table. So you cannot be prescribing the same program for two different kind of persons who are preoccupied with a different kind of activities. My teacher used to say jocularly, in Tamil actually, யானைக்கும் பூனைக்கும் ஒரே ஆசனம் சொல்லி தரக்கூடாது. That is, the programs that are prescribed for an elephant cannot be the program for a cat. Cat is different and elephant is different. The physical features of the cat is different. The physical features of the elephant is different. The attitude is different. Cat will jump. Elephant, no. So this is also very, very important. Vritti. That's when I used to give this example of the person who is the pilot of a plane. He is also a driver. And an auto rickshaw driver is also a driver. The program that can be related to a pilot cannot be the same to the auto rickshaw driver. Whereas the vritti of this guy is different, the vritti of that guy is different. And finally, which is very, very important as far as our tradition is concerned, Shakti. What is your capacity? Just because a particular program is going to help somebody, but if he doesn't have the sufficient strength to carry that program, you should not be loaded with that. Krishnamacharya used to brand it as Yatha Shakti. You do according to your Shakti. Even the Shakti goes with the season also. How much of exercise one can do is a question. Shastram says just stop at 50% of your total capacity. Don't stretch. You sweat it out, we say. But our tradition says don't sweat it out. Because the whole idea of the yoga is the sustaining and expanding the quality of your prana. If your number of breath increases, your number of living years reduces. So the whole focus of yoga is to expand the prana so that your rate of breath gradually comes down. It is not that you don't breathe. Without breath, you cannot move. Breath is influenced by our emotions also. If you are very angry, the rate of breath will be more. If you are calm, the rate of breath will be less. So the total idea of Vinyoga is comprises of these five important within Deha also, the uh, Desha, Vayo, Vritti, Shakti, and Deham. That is very, very important, which I forgot actually. Before prescribing a program to a person, we will have to see his Deham, the constitution. We are not going into the Ayurvedic analysis of constitution. Vata, Pitta, Kapha, Prakriti, but mostly, it tallies. If you are very bulky, the program has to be different. If you are very thin, the program has to be different. And also the overall structure. If a person is having kyphosis, say for kyphosis means is a condition where the upper back is arched, and in that situation, only certain asanas have to be prescribed. If this arch is going to be intensified by introducing an asana, it is going to destroy him. The same is the case with lordosis, which is a cavity in the lower back. Now L3, L4, that area. If pregnant women naturally develop lordosis, that is why, for pregnant women, when we teach, we take care to see that she doesn't get intense cavity in the back. So for them, there are certain things which are not good. And the height of all this thing is another condition in our spinal column, which is known as scoliosis. It's the our spinal column having a S shape for some people by birth. If they do certain asanas, that scoliosis will become much more intense. Their whole life will be destroyed. this can be elaborated only when we are going to discuss about therapy, because um, it mostly, the people who are stout normally belong to kapha. The people who are in the medium range will be with pitta, and the people who are more emaciated, vata. But we cannot, just have a single dosha person. There will be combination, and to find out and all those things is a different ball game. But it's very important to observe the person. Pratyaksha pramanam is the most important thing. The pratyaksha anumana agamaha pramanani. So pratyaksham, first darshanam is very, very important in Vinyoga. Darshanam, prashnam, asking questions, and sparshanam. If there is palpitation or some kind of thing, we can touch and know. And then nadi pariksha. That's only for therapeutic kind of stuff. But sparshanam is very, very important. For some people, when they come with severe neck pain, even if you touch, they will shout. So we'll understand the intensity of, and there are various other parameters also of, evaluating the position of internal organs. But those things are more technical, which are there, in the text, unless we learn it from the scholarly teachers. For example, Nabhichakre Kaya Vyuha Jnanam, the 3rd chapter. By observing the Nabi, the position of its deviation, we can understand the entire internal apparatus, positions and dislocations. So this is about the Vinyoga Krama. So in this both days, it's only what I am able to say to you, thanks to Ravi Garu. It's such a huge topic which we have studied and diploma for 2 years, thrice a week. And with that, we were not permitted to teach. After that, we had to undergo a kind of internship with our teacher observing and guiding. And I was with my teacher almost for 9 years. So every day from my college, I'll come back around 2 o'clock and be with him up to 9 o'clock. In fact, my family, my babies, children were very small babies. Thanks to my wife, I could afford to be with my teacher for such a lengthy period of time. And that same tradition, has been happening over these years for 40 years, with my own additions of extra reading and other things. So, Desikachar's yoga is nothing but the quintessence of Krishnamacharya. Krishnamacharya is a quintessence of the true Indian heritage. And yoga has to be learned only under the guidance of a competent teacher. And our system also doesn't provide teaching in groups, because each individual is different. I am different from you. You are different from your own family members. So the mind, body, both are totally different, leave alone the intellect. So accordingly, the things have to be done. So some of the important concepts are vinyasa, which is very popular now, and which has been codified as vinyasa krama, the sequence of asanas, how it has to be structured. then this planning the program will always have to go through the process called Arohana Avarohana Kramam, which is like Carnatic music, up to 7 scale, Sarigama Pada Nisa, then Ni Ta Pa Ga Ri Sa. No, the same thing. You reach the plateau and come down. The beauty of this Arohana Avarohana Kramam is, while going through the plateau, you can introduce tough programs, but while returning, it should be only simple programs. That's one important idea which I forgot to mention yesterday. Today we have discussed about what I say, the Ashtanga Krama. Then we try to understand the Asana Krama, the Abhyasa Krama. Then we have come to Vinyoga Krama. Under Vinyoga Krama, we have discussed 6 important principles: Desha, Deha, Kala, Vritti, and Shakti. Yeah, somebody wants to ask something. Yeah. Yeah, somebody wants to ask something. You can ask in Telugu, and I can, if you are not comfortable with English, I'll speak in Telugu.
Sir, good evening. This is Ramchandra, sir.
Chappandi.
Sir, can you put a light on this very briefly about this Langana and Brahmana practices, sir? Because most of the people, know absolutely no idea. Can you put on light on that, sir, please?
Yeah. The Brahmana Kriya and the Langana Kriya is one of the important contribution of Krishnamacharya, but in my own understanding of Brahmana Kriya and Langana Kriya has a lot to do with Ayurveda. In Ayurveda only this Langana Kriya and Brahmana Kriya is, in fact, Krishnamacharya has in his therapeutic operations has taken in my own studies has taken a lot of resources from Ayurvedic approach to therapy. Okay. Langana Kriya is given for the people where you will have to remove the impurities, and especially the Apana area.
Okay, sir.
Brahmana Kriya is a people who needs to be strengthened.
Correct.
Okay. And this is a broad classification, but within this classification, you will have to fit in Sashti Krama, Sthiti Krama, and Samhara Krama.
Right.
Okay. And within this Sashti, Sthiti, Samhara Krama, you will have to have that ratio. 60, 40, 80.
40, 40, 20,
yeah,
60,
that kind
60,
of,
20, 20, like that. Yes, sir.
according to
Correct.
and within that proportion also, we'll have to take into account Desha, Deha, Kala, Vritti, Vayo, and Shakti.
Correct.
I'm talking only in the general sense. If you are going to go for therapy, that is a totally different ball game, and we are not talking about that now.
Yeah. Sir, it's a request for you and Ravi Tumluri, sir, that on this topic, if we sit for an hour or so, it will be very useful for all of us, sir, because you have a very close association with Desikachar, sir, because the practices, this Brahmana, even in asana sessions also, what we have observed, the most of the opening practices where the energy need to be given to the student or the patient. So Brahmana is, and even the using of chants in Brahmana and as well as Langana. So I request you and Ravi sir to conduct one more session on this particular topic.
Yeah, even the mantras that is used also as Brahmana and Langana
that is what,
aspect.
sir.
That's why the mantra upadesam itself is a separate thing. In the pranayama, we use mantras. And again, the problem is, you cannot uniformly teach the mantras. There are certain uniform mantras are there, but there are certain mantras which are specific to the individual. For example, I there was, and even the slokas, for example, one lady, she was the principal of the Polytechnic College here, and at that time I have already come out of. So she was doing everything right, but she was so aggressive.
Hmm.
You touch her, she'll be so hot. That kind of person.
Correct.
So I was asking, sir, now daily, every day I'm worshipping Ambal and all those things. I asked, in what form, what is this sloka you are doing? She said, I'm every day chanting Mahishashwar Mardini. I said, that's enough for you. First, I asked her to stop Mahishashwar Mardini. See, Ambal, Amavaru is in various formats, like she is in the form of Lalita, she is in the form of Saundarya Lahari. So
Correct.
we like to, these are all very, very important things. And it's very important that the observations is more important while working on each student. I distinctly remember one person, I was in the consultation room along with my teacher. That person came with a severe headache and also blurred vision. My teacher, simply was keeping on looking at him, and that chap was, flickering his eyes and all those things. Then he asked him to remove his spectacle. You see, his spectacle was so tight, it has actually gave such a intense pressure on the nerves, optic nerves. Okay, and also that optic nerve automatically involves the nerves that goes upward. He said, first you change your spectacle and make it suitable to you. And believe it or not, when he came for the next class, all his headache has gone and his vision was much better. So that's how, that's why we always say, observation itself is kala actually. It's
Correct.
first, we have to be in good position. The person who is observing
Hmm.
must be in good position. He must have all his faculty must be present.
Correct.
Because perception can be interfered by various laws, ati durat, ati samipyat,
Hmm.
indriya anabhigat, mano avasthat, saukshmyat, these are all the impediments of perception.
That's what, sir. If we are not cleansed properly, we see the same blurred vision, and the student reflects the same to you. So it will create certain problems in, especially in therapeutical aspects, sir.
Yes, yes, yes. The therapy is
Yeah.
therapy unless we have some good hold on Ayurveda also.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, Simply talking about therapy, because the when we are talking about yama nema, even the second chapter, the first sutra, tapas swadhyaya ishwara pranidhana kriya yoga. What is tapas? So we'll have to understand,
Correct.
you know.
Any other questions?
సరిగా వినపడలేదు, ఎవరు మాట్లాడుతున్నారు?
No, it is not questions, sir. Somebody was talking. They're muted now.
Okay, okay, okay.
Anyone can ask questions. So Ravi sir, we request Ravi sir and Gopal Krishnan sir to put a light on this Langana and Brahmana, especially the how to use the chantings as well. Mostly it will take in my this one, if you very briefly, it will take 3 sessions, sir. So kindly plan for that, sir.
సరే,
Is it over?
ఎవరికైనా క్వశ్చన్స్ ఉంటే
ఏం లేదు అనుకుంటున్నాను. అదే ఎవరికైనా క్వశ్చన్స్ ఉంటే అడగండి. థ్యాంక్ యూ ఫర్ ద మోస్ట్ శ్వేతారావు. Okay then.
So thank you so much, Gopal Krishna Garu. We enjoyed the 2 days sessions with you, and we are very grateful to you uh, for taking out this time. And mm, we hope to get more sessions from you as Ramachandra Garu has requested. Uh, we can arrange some other forum, and we can have you as for these sessions. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now, Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu
Even
वधितमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
okay, thank you so much for joining this sessions.